I get to introduce Natan Ponyman, our resident staff writer. What's happening, pal?
Hello, Patrick. How are you?
It's very good to see you, man. And I know that we're bringing on Tara Rosalowski from Canopy Growth. Asking you shall receive, friends in the chat. It's very good to see you. And Tara, you're running the beverages and edibles segment. You're VP over there?
Yeah, you got it. So Canopy's Vice President, Beverages and Edibles, and I think we're going to talk all things CBD today. Really excited, and thank you for having me.
Oh my God, it's a pleasure. Excited. I'm going to shut up and get out of the way because I want to listen to this.
No, please. We love having you, Patrick. How are you, Tara?
I'm good, Natan. How are you?
I'm doing great. How is that Chicago life coming along for you?
Oh, thank you so much. And hello to everyone in the Benzinga forum today. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yes. Yes, we're happy and always glad to have Canopy Growth here. So we start. Basically, the last conversation that Canopy had with Benzinga, at least publicly, your president and chief product officer, right? He was telling us in February how the COVID-19 pandemic and all the stress associated with the pandemic and people being at home needing ways to relax, and that drove the CBD market. So now that the pandemic is subsiding, at least in the US and in some parts of the world, how is the CBD market opportunity with this different, this change in scenery?
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you. Yeah, since we last spoke with Benzinga, I would say that the demand signal for CBD is stronger. So in February and even now, the omnipresent kind of cultural reality of COVID-19 has merely surged what was already largely increasing demand for CBD. What I will say, just to back up, is CBD in general has become so mainstream, hasn't it? I mean, over the past 2 years, like even before COVID, a lot of us were looking for more progressive, more in control ways to take control of our physical and our mental wellness. So COVID-19 really put a surge on that, right? And that's not to say that this surge in CBD is transitory. It isn't at all. There's a sentiment as we are facing what can be a more healthful world ahead of us. There's a sentiment that what we take with us coming out of COVID-19 is this assurance in knowing that we within ourselves can look for solutions and products through CBD that help us take control of our physical and mental well-being like never before. So what we're seeing now, and we were seeing it, but we're seeing it stronger since last we spoke, is people who already used CBD for wellness solutions are using CBD more, and new consumers are entering CBD all the time. I wrote down some factoids, some quick things to think about, and I almost think about it like a third. If you think about the domestic US, there's about a third of us that have tried, CBD already, but there's another third that have, claimed to say, I'm going to use CBD within the next year. So this tidal wave of growth will be exponential. And who's driving that growth is the millennial consumer. Over half of millennial consumers have tried CBD before or are increasing, as we sit here, their spend in CBD. And so those are some new factoids since last we spoke. And this puts the projection, we pull Brightfield data if helpful. This puts the projection at the overall CBD market in the US in and around $10 billion by 2023. And so that's massive progress, that's massive awareness. And we believe across the industry that the demand and the potential for CBD products is extremely strong and growing. And so much so, and I know we'll get into it here, just recently, last September actually, and then we really formalized our relationship at Canopy Growth with Martha Stewart. So most on the line in the Benzinga universe would be familiar that Canopy Growth partnered with Martha Stewart to launch a line of products called Martha Stewart CBD. We launched last September, and it's a true privilege to work with Martha Stewart in partnership to bring forward a CBD line. And I know we'll get into it, but the Martha CBD product line in the domestic US is absolutely crushing it. So I know
It's wonderful. Yeah.
but it's going extremely well.
Yeah. I've been looking at those products, and I want to have them. They look wonderful. You have a few lines.
Behind my head as well.
What's your partnership with Martha like? So you have edibles, you have drops, you have capsules. How are you? How is this business coming along?
No, you got that right.
More about that.
Yeah, that's right. I'll mention the products and then I'll back up and talk a little bit about the partnership. We have a line of gummies, anything from kind of a tub gummy all the way to a a box, a 15-count flavor sampler. And then we've got oils and soft gels, as you mentioned as well, that we're very excited about, and all are performing well in market. As I back up, and I mentioned before, at Canopy Growth, we're extremely proud of the partnership and the honor it is to work with Martha Stewart herself in the context of CBD. And what Martha's got going on, in addition to human and the products I mentioned, Martha's got CBD products for human and pet. So if you can see over my shoulder here, also we recently launched a line of pet wellness soft baked chews for dogs as well. So around wellness and mobility, and also calmness. So that's the product range. And if I back up, why we're so proud of the progress with Martha Stewart is when we first joined forces with Martha Stewart, it was really on vision for Canopy Growth. With Martha, we sought, to unleash the power of cannabis to improve people's lives. And with Martha, right, with her brand strength, we've made CBD so accessible. So we like to say that with Martha Stewart, allows so many consumers to confidently step into CBD for the very first time, because Martha is so real and so authentic. Yeah,
it's a very welcoming figure for people who maybe haven't tried it, or they're a little nervous about trying CBD. So it's
entirely.
And she's also become an advisor recently, right?
Yes, just about 2 weeks ago. You probably saw, an announcement where we want to strengthen the partnership with Martha. We announced that Martha will be a personal advisor, a strategic advisor to Canopy Growth. She is an honored personal advisor of mine, and this partnership is just a natural fit. We've got aligned views, as I mentioned before, of the category and what it takes to have consumers step confidently into this space. And we just have a shared dedication to bring, consumers through and into the space with real innovative and high quality CBD solutions that they can trust and that they can love. And Martha Stewart is definitely an active recruiter for us in that context. We survey a lot of our shoppers who've purchased our Martha Stewart products since last September, and over a third of our Martha shoppers had never bought CBD before.
Wow.
So Martha is bringing in people who've never tried CBD before. Maybe they had some question about it, and through Martha, through her everyday solution profile, have stepped into the CBD space for the first time and continue to repeat the business.
Well, that sounds like a good partnership. So edibles are a very important part of the CBD segment, but you've also recently announced some upsizing or some expansion of your beverages plan into the U.S. market. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
That's right. Similarly to edibles, we have a ton of belief and excitement with what beverages can do within the overall CBD market. We anticipate, so I'll throw it back out there again, we anticipate that the beverage component of the CBD landscape will be over $1.5 billion across our industry just in the next couple of years. So beverages will be one of the fastest growing subsegments within total CBD. And the reason that is that beverages are extremely, familiar, right? They're an otherwise known format to consumers. So beverages have this unique opportunity to disrupt these mega categories, right? If you're looking at a beverage, a CBD beverage can knock over mega categories like beverage alcohol, can knock over categories like functional wellness waters. And so there's so many ways to tap in to a wellness solution that doesn't have maybe some of the unhealthy baggage or some of the, hangover-esque attributes of the categories that beverages are seeded to disrupt. Similar to edibles, though, to what we talked about before, beverages come into the market in an otherwise cluttered market, right? I think there's over 3,000 players in CBD and over 30, 30 beverage players in California alone. And so that level of fragmentation with the absence of a true leader is very confusing for consumers, but it presents a very clear and compelling opportunity for a company like Canopy Growth to come in there. We are better resourced and better able to manufacture a science-backed solution that we can scale, and we can run through this space in an intuitive way for consumers to enter while navigating a fairly complex regulatory environment. So given this opportunity, and you mentioned it, we launched just recently in March. We launched Quattro. It's probably itty bitty, but beside my head. So the launch of Quattro is Canopy's first entry into the CBD infused beverage market. So earlier this year, Quattro launched with our 4 flavors, and I'll shout them out here. They're cucumber and.
Can you show us the can a little closer?
Oh, yeah.
They look beautiful.
We'll make this interactive, and I am so biased, but I agree with you. The can is beautiful.
No, the design is beautiful.
When we see images across the country, the can shows up so well in store. And so the 4 flavors that we have, one is cucumber and mint that I held up before. The one I have in my hand is the blueberry and acai. We've got a ginger and lime behind my head, and then there's also passion fruit and guava is the red. And what's key about these, why they're so differentiated in the market, is each of these, it's a 12-ounce can. It's $3.99 sold at retail. So it's the best value for money because this has 20 milligrams of the purest CBD isolate in the can, 0 sugar, and low cal. And it has outstanding flavor, straight up, flavor equivalency to a sparkling water. We've actually competitively tested this back in January, head to head with non-CBD analogs and even market incumbents. And we walked away with it in terms of taste and overall liking and experience with the product. So that's a little bit about Quattro and why we're so excited about it.
That sounds wonderful. And as opposed to the Canadian version of the product, this has no THC. Just a clarification, right?
Oh, that's correct. So if you're familiar with our Canadian repertoire, it's the 4 flavors, but in Canada, 2 of them are blended solutions with 2 milligrams of THC. In the US, that's not the case. In the US, all 4 are CBD led with the highest CBD potency for the penny, if you will, with 20 milligrams of the purest CBD isolate.
Wonderful. Yeah. So the product sounds wonderful, but can you tell us a little bit about how you're planning on getting them to the stores? What's your distribution plan for the US?
You got it. Yep. Since as we continue to grow, since our launch in March, of course, our presence in the US via e-commerce and distributor partnerships is critical to our success. We've seen a lot of success with the Quattro line, and the most recent thing that I wanted to share, we talked about in a recent press release, is our partnership, our distribution partnership with Southern Glazer's Wine and Spirits, which has allowed us to distribute Quattro in 7 states right off the bat, starting in the month of April, in fact. And we're going to be adding more and more states through this partnership that Canopy Growth has with Southern Glazer's Wine and Spirits throughout this year. And I will make a plug to say it's because of Canopy Growth's partnership with and relationship with Constellation Brands that we were able to secure the partnership with Southern. And Southern is impressive. Not only does Southern, again, share our values about how to grow the category, Southern is very future forward about getting the right products and the right assortment into the right retail environments where our customers can pick up the products. So we have this mutual understanding between Canopy Growth and Southern has provided our Quattro product with an immediate, speed to market, route to market, to get this product into the hands of consumers across the country that we're thrilled about.
So how about branding and your marketing efforts, and how are you positioning these products to resonate with consumers, especially, in all the different states where we are planning on expanding?
Yes, thank you so much. Based on our consumer insights work, and what I should say, there's our number one focus at Canopy Growth is just to assess the needs of all of our core consumers throughout all of our innovation. And so Quattro was brought to market very consumer centric. And what I mean by that, we were very purposeful about what Quattro stands for in terms of how it's differentiated in the market. And our points of differentiation, number one, is our high CBD potency. So I mentioned we've got 20 milligrams of the purest CBD isolate in all of these drinks at the lowest price point in the market for a CBD beverage. So that's hot and that's differentiated. Also, zero sugar. Zero sugar in this proposition, when incumbents in the space are not out in front with better for you attributes like zero sugar. Low cal. These are expectations if you're turning to CBD as a wellness solution. Because if you're turning away from other, even wellness waters or beverage alcohol solutions that are often high in sugar and disappointingly high in cal, what Quattro stands for as a CBD solution is an alternative to all of that. And then also the pure hemp. So I'll go back to that one. The pure hemp, that CBD isolate, is distinct. It's a THC-free experience. So it's not an intoxicating experience, but it is an experience that is pure. Well, you'll get some differences across the incumbents in the space around broad spectrum whole plant. This is pure CBD isolate. And so that also has a different flavor experience and expectation that the consumer should have. And so the positioning is around these points of difference. And the campaignable message goes back to what I said at the top about reach for a wave of calm. Now that's our introductory campaign, because Quattro is saying what other brands maybe aren't or can't. Amidst a frenzy of functional wellness drinks that say, get a little bit more in, do a little bit more with your day, be more productive, go, go, go. I mean, Quattro comes in as the antithesis to that, to say, isn't that behavior what kind of got us into this, cultural funk? Can we get back to where it's okay to reach for a moment of pause and take a breath, like take a beat. Take a beat for your mental wellness. Take a beat for your physical wellness. And can we embrace that as a culture? And that's what Quattro's here to do.
Well, sounds wonderful. And yeah, it's a necessary message these days. Patrick, do you have 1 minute for Tara to tell us a little bit about
I wish we did, Natan. I wish we did. But listen, I want to reach for a wave of calm right now, too. That sounds awesome. My friends, I will welcome you back at another time. I'm sure, Tara, there's questions for you in the chat, so we're going to send those along to you and get some answers back for our investors, too. But this has been great. And I've got more on drinkables and edibles coming soon. So this is fun. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Thanks. Thank you, Natan.
Thank you, Tara.
Absolutely our pleasure. Thanks, Natan. Thanks, Tara.